Something that I've been a sucker for many years is there's a lot of things for sale that are electronic that claim to help your sleep. So I would just note to be very aware of what you're buying that may be billed as being helpful, but thinking about even just if a night lamp is disruptive, if it has to be plugged in, is it really going to be helpful?
Welcome to this episode of The Well Drop, our mini drop takeaways, where we dive into past interviews. On this episode today, we're going to dive into our conversation with August Brice from Tech Wellness. And I thought what she had to say was so eye-opening and fascinating, not only for myself, but also for my family, and especially protecting our kids and the next generation, because they are the most vulnerable. We'll dive into our 3 takeaways, but the biggest takeaways was really about unplugging things near your bed. Number 1. Number 2, how to improve your sleep. We have some great tips for you. And then number 3 is really the earpod conversation and how to protect yourself. So Dina, diving into number 1, what did you think about I never thought about unplugging things near your bed, such as end tables. So I've always done the other phone stuff, which we'll talk about next. But I never thought about if you have lamps next to your bed, which many people do,
Yep.
just unplug them, and how easy is that, number 1, to do.
Yeah, never thought about it before. I don't have a lot plugged in, but I do have lamps. And it's very easy.
Yeah.
It's very easy. That's the biggest
Unplug,
takeaway.
replug, like,
Easy things to do. Exactly. But it didn't occur to me that it was something that could be disruptive to your sleep to leave the night lamp plugged in. So that's huge to think about that, and easy to fix, which is that's the goal here at the Well Drop, is to give easy fixes to problems that to things that may be affecting your health that you don't even realize.
yeah, I think that's like the biggest thing, is that so many people complain and have sleep issues. And that, just imagine, which we'll talk about our number 2 of how to improve your sleep, with some phone hacks. But like with the phone hacks on top of unplugging what's next to your bed, that can make such an impact on your sleep. And I can't wait for those listening to please let us know how your sleep is evolving after hearing our conversation with Tech Wellness.
And I would say that something that I've been a sucker for many years is there's a lot of things for sale that are electronic that claim to help your sleep. So I would just note to be very aware of what you're buying that may be billed as being helpful, but thinking about even just if a night lamp is disruptive, if it has to be plugged in, is it really going to be helpful? For me, it's always a good reminder. I'm horrific this is why I can't go on Instagram, because I buy everything that it tries to sell me.
Yeah.
So just because it says it's going to help, make sure you do your research, because if it is plugged in, chances are it's not real.
And on top, to add to that, I think that I like to tell everyone, just stop everything. Don't buy anything, just stop. I think that, listen, marketing does such an amazing job these days, that we're marketed so much. We feel like we need.
Mm-hmm.
But, this episode is like the perfect way to just start, and it's free, and it's things that are in your control, and just try these few steps and see if it makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And then if not, okay, then let's add something else, but make sure, maybe especially when it comes to sleep, that it's not tech related. I want to help give, a little recap on ways to improve your sleep with your phone settings. And we did it on the episode. And I do this every night, but there was one thing
This
that
is
she introduced me
takeaway number
to.
2.
This is for
Right.
number 2, is
Yeah.
that to turn every night, and I don't know if you do this, Dina, but even my kids' phones, I make sure I show them, you go into settings, you hit the button, turn the Wi-Fi off, turn the Bluetooth off, put it on airplane mode. But the new one for me was about the cell data, to turn that off.
So
And
we don't put cell phones in the bedroom.
that's
For
also a
kids.
huge thing too. So
Yeah.
she likes to say distance is your best friend. And I definitely do that with my kids, but I don't do it for me. I always have it in my
Same.
room, but on the other
Same.
side of the room. And I think I actually tried the other night. I was like, you know what? I'm putting my phone outside. And I think it kind of did make a difference. I didn't want to admit it to myself, but I think it did. I'm going to start doing it now. more
My only
often.
problem is my alarm. I use my phone alarm.
Me too. So then you'll get up out of the bed and
No,
go
it's
get the
true.
alarm.
You set it and it's outside. I get that.
Yeah.
That's
Because
true.
I don't look, for me, I'm actually pretty good. I don't look at my phone. I try for 8 p.m. Not on the best nights, it'll be 9, but after that, like, I 100% don't look at my phone, and my family knows, everyone knows, like, if you call me after, like, pretty much 8, I don't pick up the phone, it's probably already on silent, I'm not paying attention because I know I need time to kind of relax and just sort of decompress, and it takes me a little bit, it takes me at least 2 hours, so if I don't turn it off by 8, then maybe I'm sleeping by 10:30. So I just love those phone hacks of the airplane mode, Bluetooth off, cellular off, especially for your kids. And also keeping it outside the room is huge because a lot of kids sleep with their phones.
Well, the funniest is that I was just reading an article, and this is not anything I'm a specialist in, but that airplane mode, that when you're on an airplane, you don't actually need to be in airplane mode.
Really? Wow.
I don't know, according to an article that I was just reading, but it's just funny. If that is true, airplane mode is still necessary for when you sleep, but it's just funny that it may not be as
Wow. It's funny
necessary
because
when
I
you
was just on a flight last week and they could tell that there were too many phones not on airplane mode. And I was
That's so
wondering how
funny.
they could figure that out. I thought that was interesting.
That's so funny. Who
So I
knows?
think our third takeaway is that ear pod conversation. And I kind of laugh of telling people, even especially my husband, like, go old school. And I said, like, let's create a trend of plug-in ear pods and making that cool and sexy because one, it's so easy. I'm sure it
Mhm.
doesn't look as cool and it's not as hands-free, but it's good enough. And the amount of, she was saying it's more the Bluetooth of, like, it's going between your ear to ear, it's connecting. Like, if you just visualize that, obviously that has to be disruptive to your body in some capacity. And that an easy fix for that is to minimize the Bluetooth and put something that's a plug-in. She also doesn't even like for your phones at home. I had someone come here, and we'll talk about on another episode, to check for EMF in the house, and they didn't like something that wasn't an old school, like, plug-in phone.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I have this debate with my teenager and preteen that all their friends have AirPods and all of that, and I really, really discourage them. They have somehow inherited my husband's old ones from work, and I tell them they're not allowed to use them all the time, because yeah, it's especially for children, it's not great. Their brains are developing. You know, you don't want to interfere with that, and we do the best that we can. It's not, I can't say that my family is 100%, but it's one of those things that I am always pushing, always reminding them. And I am personally 100%. I'm almost always using a plug-in. And yeah,
And that even if you can't, because my husband refuses also, that there are these, cord things you could wrap around the bottom and the base of those ear pods, and they do something versus nothing. So if you can't fully commit to a plug-in yet, definitely go look online for some, anti-EMF for your ear pods. There's a couple different companies out there, and, buy them, wrap them around. We'll be interviewing them hopefully in the near future, so you can learn a little bit more with us. But to dive in deeper, definitely check out our conversation with Tech Wellness. I thought it was eye-opening. She's a mother. She healed herself from, some EMF sensitivity. And, more and more EMFs are really, they're coming about. It's reality. And our bodies it's not natural, some of these EMFs. So our bodies are going to become more and more sensitive. So we need to start now, sort of minimizing as much as possible, because you can only control what you can control, which is what's in your house and the items that you use. And when you're outside in elements, right, you can't control that, and that's okay. But I think if you start minimizing now, then it'll help for the future, because we don't even know what's going to come.
someone once told me it seems like a lot of work to make these changes, but it's much, much more work if you get sick. So make the changes now.
It's a great point. Absolutely. So thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Mini Drop, and check out our interview with Tech Wellness.